All right, welcome to episode. I was wrong on the last, yeah. So this is episode 91 of My FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there's a blog, which I guess I don't make myself clear enough. There is a blog, myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. That is where the articles that I cover are posted. In addition to that, I only cover articles. I don't have any contacts. I don't have boots on the ground. So I only cover articles that come from Iraq. Okay? And I'm saying this because there's a person who left a comment. You shouldn't leave false information. I can't find that the U.S. Treasury moved into the CBI building, even though it's all over the internet. And it was the main article that I discussed. So I left them a written message, but there may be other people who don't understand. If you are listening to this on YouTube, that's all you're doing is listening. I know it appears you're watching a video, but you're not. So to view the video, you either have to go to rumble.com, the video's there, My FX Buddies, or go to the blog, which has the videos and the articles. And if you play the video and go through down the blog and work your way down the blog, like I do, it makes it make even more sense. But I know not everyone can do that. So if you're on YouTube, look below the box that appears to be a video. Look for the word more, M-O-R-E. Click that. Another box opens and the link to the blog is there. If you go there and the link is not there, come back later. That means I didn't have time to wait around for the software to push it through. So I always go back and make sure the video is there. Okay. Spotify.com also has video if you're a paid subscriber, audio if you are not. I'm there as My FX Buddies. RSS.com has a great transcript that's free for me, because there's another level, but you have to pay for that. You guys don't know that, but I'm like, no, that's good enough. And also, I am an amateur. I'm not a professional at this. I don't get paid to do this. So have mercy, okay? Have mercy on typos, mishaps, crazy fonts. Like in this one, there's this huge picture. I don't know why the picture came out so huge. And then when I try to shrink it, it moves the text. Okay? So I'm like, well, you know, I'm not a professional. I'm just doing this to help people. Well, for me, right? I'm doing it for me so I can follow along, but it also helps people. Okay, all right. So I think that's everything. Yeah, so we'll get into it. And thank you. Thank you, everyone who is supportive and encouraging. I appreciate you all. All right, so the big news, and oh, it is August 6th. Oh, I forgot to say Abundant August. Oh, you know what? Also, hold on. I'm going to pause this. All right. So there's a quick change here. A quick image change here. I've been trying to put this on here. I think this is so cute. It says hang in there, and it's a guy. I think it's a guy. And he's hanging from one of the letters. So it's just a little motivational thing that I send to people. And I forget which blog. There was one blog that I did, and I was like, oh, I wish I had this image here. It says hang in there, because that's what we all have to do, right? I mean, continue to live your life, do your things, but hang in there. Especially the world is getting crazy, right? But don't let it drive you crazy. But anyway, so now finally, this is on the August 6th blog. Hang in there. All right. So now we'll go back up to, I think I was getting into the reason I did this blog. Central Bank of Iraq governor resignation. And I waited. This came out many hours ago. 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago. But I waited because sometimes 2 or 3 hours later, after something this significant comes out, then there'll be another article saying, no, I didn't put my resignation in. Don't believe that. So I was waiting for that, and I don't see that. So I believe this to be true. Yeah, so the central bank governor's resignation is it an admission of failure or escape from the repercussions of the financial crisis? And he really is, I mean, I don't feel anything for him because he could be, I shouldn't say that. Okay, I love him as a human because my creator says love all humans. Okay, so understand that. But I try to tell people don't get too attached to these people that we see in their news because we don't know them and we don't know if they're good or bad. Or I don't even want to say good or bad. We don't know if they're in corruption or not corrupt, right? So I am indifferent. That's the word, right? Indifferent to whether he's guilty or not. And I was telling someone the economy is so big, there's no way you can blame one person for anything, right? Maybe he was a cog in the spinning wheel of corruption, but not total. And someone is telling him what to do, right? We don't know who, but someone clearly tells Al-Alaq what to do. Okay, so there's a lot of articles on this blog today. I'm not going to cover all of them because I want to piece this together. Okay, so before his resignation came out, let's see, integrity. Let's go with integrity. Okay, it's not that one. Nope. This came out. Parliamentary integrity hosts the governor of the CBI. And here's the letter. Dear whoever it's written to. I didn't translate this. Actually, I had a problem. And see, look, you can see the person. There's their cell phone. They just took a picture of the image. So maybe that's why I can't translate it, but whatever. So someone got approval. The Parliamentary Integrity Committee obtained the approval of the acting House Speaker to bring him for questioning. So to me, it's looking like he didn't want to go before these people. And the integrity, they're the ones that arrest people and put them in jail. So I'm like, maybe he is in on holding things. Well, he is clearly because, yesterday there was a letter that came out. I think we covered that. But anyway, let me recover it. Yesterday there was a letter that came out that revealed back in April, Sudani was questioning the CBI. Hey, I've asked you to do these financial incentives. That's not the word. Initiatives. These financial initiatives. How come you haven't done them? Right? So if the Prime Minister has to tell you the first time and then come back and say, hey, I'm still waiting. And I think he was waiting since January, right? So then he came back again and was like, hey, why haven't you done this? And there's been all these cries for a good month and a half. All these cries of people, different parliament, excuse me, um, politicians, um, researchers, different people saying, get Al-Alaq out of there, right? So, I don't know. But, and now we won't even know because he's resigning. So he's like, I don't have to answer no more questions. Plus, I was only supposed to be here for 90 days. Remember when they brought him in? They said it would just be 90 days. So they didn't expect to still be here right now either. All right. So let's see. So I just, find that interesting. Like I said, after doing this all these years, to see that Parliament integrity letter come out and then he resigns, yeah, that tells me he did not want to go before them. All right. So, you should go read this article. It's not very hard to read. It's not very long either. Okay. He decided to submit his resignation after facing multiple problems in the financial sector, in addition to his inability to fulfill his promises to control the exchange rate. This request comes at a sensitive time for the Iraqi economy, which suffers from severe fluctuations in exchange rates and direct impacts on the local economy. So see, then there's just more of that. Oh, let me get rid of this. Okay. All right. So this is, what is this? Oh, I think this is his letter. Oh no. This is the letter, to answer it orally in the presence of the governor, and date will be determined. Oh, wow. Okay. So this, here, I was able to translate this. It's just the wrong document. It's not his, letter of recommendation. It's the people requesting to question him. So yeah, so you should read that. Okay. Now, the next article that's pretty interesting today, advisor to the Banking Association calls for implementing the Prime Minister's decisions to support private banks and lift U.S. restrictions on them. So who is this? Who is this here? Yes, Samir Al-Nusari, right? How could you forget that face? No, I just remember him because he looks like my favorite uncle. All right, and then there's the computer generated image of the fancy snazzy CBI building. So he is also going back to the letter of April 4th, what talks about implementing the directives of the Prime Minister Sudani regarding supporting private banks, which confirms the government's vision in its governmental program for financial and banking reform, as well as activating and accelerating the implementation of the agreements that were reached in the rounds of negotiations between the CBI and the U.S. Treasury and Baghdad to lift U.S. restrictions on the use of the U.S. dollar, blah, 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 right? Okay, so there's going to be another article that, remember those phrases, restrictions on the U.S. dollar. All right, so this is a repeat. They asked for this back in April. Here's the 7 things they asked for, and then some more about it. You should read that. All right, so now here's a couple articles from yesterday, August 5th. Banks of powerful politicians affect exchange rate. Iraq faces international pressure. So they know there's banks that are owned by Iranian politicians that are in the government or their cousins, somebody, right? They know that. So now they're calling them out. And maybe we'll see them shut down or merged into another, right? I think we're going to see, you know how we see movement and then it stops, and then we see movement and then it stops. I feel we're going to be at a time where there's movement, right? Because last week it started, and then here we are, so let's hope it keeps going. Keep it going. So you might want to read that. Look at this. Parliament returns the oil and gas law to the government. It must add paragraphs that keep pace. It must add paragraphs that keep pace with global developments. Well, what happened to it's not going to see the light of day until next year? Remember that? But here it is back. The House of Representatives have sent it back to the government so they can make changes. So that's great, in my opinion. Here, the federal Supreme Court rejects lawsuit regarding U.S. troops remaining in Iraq. So there were two people who said the law or agreement, whatever that says, the forces can be in Iraq should be ruled invalid. And this judge said no, it should not. So that's pretty good. I mean, really, what else was going to happen, right? All right, so we're back to today's articles. Well, and this is just the morning. These articles are up until, I would say, 10:30, 11 West Coast time. All right, so let's see. And later I'm going to do a stock video for those who are interested. But I'm saying that because I probably shouldn't be saying that. I just put the stock videos right up on YouTube. They don't go to all the other places. So if you care or interested to hear, then you have to go to my YouTube channel, and I don't want to give the name of my YouTube channel. Oh well, never mind. All right. The national currency is fluctuating. Expert, we need a banking system that creates balance. So again, what they talk about, and this is Hantouche, Mustafa Hantouche. He's a banking and financial researcher, but they must like what he says. He is very often on the evening talk shows, the ones that talk about money, and they print his ideas in the newspaper. So he says we're going to have this problem until you make that platform. That he's another one calling for the platform to deal with Iran and Syria. Because they have to, right? They're merchants, they do business. So make a platform strictly for Iran and Syrian business. Let the U.S. Treasury oversee it or whatever, right? But we can't just not do business with them because they're still going to do business. They're just going to go to the black market, and that's going to raise the price more, right? So that's what that is in a nutshell. That's another article I suggest you read. But matter of fact, this is the one. Yeah, see, he even goes on and explains how. I'll read this. Yeah, I'm cutting this off at 30 minutes. So half the articles that are here, we're not going to get to. The banking and financial researcher wondered, how are Iraqi banks given to foreign investors? This matter led to these investors transferring dollars to their bank branches in their countries to an account in Citibank and JP Morgan. So there you go. That's dollar movement. The dollar movement is going through the U.S. Treasury, through Citibank and JP Morgan. And their profits will be in huge amounts transferred to foreign countries. The issue has become a threat to Iraq's sovereign financial security. Also, that lady, Aliyah Nassif, she is calling for, she wants the law, a bank law, I forget what year. She wants it rewritten because there's no way in heck any bank in Iraq should be 51% owned by foreigners. In her opinion. That's her opinion, right? So she's calling for that today. We'll see what happens. This is a good article, very boring, but I know people like stuff like this. This talks about other industries, other raw materials that Iraq has. Their factories, steel. There was some other stuff in here too. Just this stuff is boring to me, but I know other people like these articles, so that's why I post them. And if the lady is saying, what did she? The title of the article is "Industry: Our Production is Trusted by Government Agencies and Citizens." So it is good. Like I said, it's just boring to me. So, but it's there if you like that. This is interesting. The UAE has a credit corporation. This it's Export Exponential, and they have signed with the International Development Bank. That's one of the, if not the largest, one of the largest commercial banks in Iraq. So it connects them with doing business with the UAE, Abu Dhabi, I think Saudi Arabia, and I thought I saw Egypt in here. Egypt, but reading it again, I don't see Egypt. But so it's just growing them out, getting them out to more global connections, and I think that's good. The power of the federal forces. Iraq is moving to achieve financial autonomy. Yeah, good luck with that. Iraq seeks to get rid of this dominance, our dominance, right? So it says the United States of America still dominates the Iraqi economy through economic agreements concluded by Washington according to what primarily serves its interests. So again, they talk about their oil sale money goes straight to us. So you might want to read that. See this image here? I don't know why this image is so big. I really don't. But anyway, and it's in the middle of the article. So forgive me for that. So here they talk about our U.S. federal bank. So this is another good article you should read. The power of the federal forces. Iraq is moving to achieve financial autonomy. And they will get some. When the RV happens, we will be relinquishing some power to them. Not all, but some. Here's another one. A former member of Parliament. Oh, a former member of the Finance Committee also. Iraq's financial autonomy is lost because of Washington. So just another article reinforcing the previous one. Financial expert diagnoses serious error in Iraqi banking system. You might want to read that. Oh, this should have been down at the bottom, unless we're at the bottom. We already covered that. Well, this is in Iraq's news. I'm sure you're watching your own news to know about the latest happenings with the Kabluis, right? In Iraq and other places. So this is what is being reported in Iraq's news. Washington will postpone the response to targeting al-Assad, security expert, and we are waiting for the Iranian strike. So we got hit. I think you know that. And yeah, because I think I even said, well, they're saying no one got hurt, but then a few days later, what comes out? One place is actually reporting some deaths, but the Pentagon has not admitted to that. However, they did admit that some soldiers were injured, one critically. So maybe that's, I don't know. It's just so sad. But anyway, So it did turn out that some soldiers were injured, but they're waiting to respond, right? For that, like I said, so you could read that. And usually I try to put the military stuff at the end, but you can see that didn't happen. Here, local governments are important in implementing the government program. And there's a lot in their news today about the government program. They have a meeting about it. They've made some infographics about it. So yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with the RV in my opinion, but it does lay shows how forceful Sudani has been, right, in getting his program implemented. Some categories are even up to 62%. I can tell that. And none of it so far that I've seen talks about economic things. So sorry, was it us or the CBI? The CBI took over Zain Iraq Bank. It's in guardianship. So that was a little article out yesterday. This is a larger article with more detail. Imposing guardianship on Zain Iraq Bank reveals the extent of the deterioration in the banking reality. So yeah, so if you want to read that. And what is so interesting, sorry, the loud vehicle. What's interesting about this to me is they just won some awards. I think last year and this year, this bank won awards. And now they're being taken over by the CBI, which possibly could have been taken over by us. We know we took over the dollar processing. We didn't take over everything in the CBI, just the dollar processing. But that's what they have in writing, right? So here, lots of people are worried about the budget and things related to the budget because oil dropped down to $76. Oh, Brent crude dropped down to $76. And then I was seeing an article where Goldman came out and said, don't worry, it won't go any lower than $75. And I'm like, how do they know that? How can they promise that? But, they do. So there's that. And let's see. We're almost there. The U.S. ambassador, do America's economic interventions serve Iraq or threaten its autonomy? And we know how they feel. Oh my goodness, you know what? I think this is all screwed up here. Because, what was I looking at? Host. I'm almost there. Hold on. There's that one. Okay, that one. Okay, no, I guess that was the title of that. I didn't realize that was the title. Okay, so go back over here. I thought that was two different articles. Yeah, so she met with, but no, this is messed up because there's a picture. There's a picture. I'm gonna go back and fix that. So, but anyway, that do America's economic intervention serve Iraq or threaten its autonomy is just more of the same thing from those other two articles. And then here, the U.S. ambassador hosts a group of Iraqi businessmen, and the picture of the men were there. So we're still trying to move forward and get them to feel comfortable, right? All right. And here's another Mohammed Saleh, the financial advisor to the Prime Minister. He also came out and said, don't worry about oil. It's down now, but it's okay. It's going to go back up. And look, they even talk about the VIX. All right. Oh, and then here, this is like a bonus article. It's pretty long, but it's kind of interesting. Um, 4 reasons why China is cautious about Iraq's development path. Right? So, if you want to read that, that is at the very bottom of the blog. Okay, so we slightly went over, but that's because I had to check something and I wanted to put that image in there. Just hang in there. So, we'll see what happens tomorrow, how quickly. And I think um, when just because he's submitting his resignation doesn't mean they'll approve it. They can say, sorry, no, not at this time. We're not going to honor your resignation. Or they can say yes. And I believe it's Sudani. Isn't that interesting? Sudani is the one that approves or denies resignation letters. I believe it is. I could be wrong. But we'll find out. So I may post again tomorrow. If it's worth posting, I'll post tomorrow. If not, um, I'll post whenever there's something good worth posting. And what's today? Tuesday. Yeah, so we're early in the week. I'll probably post again. Maybe Thursday. All right, but thank you. I hope this was helpful. As always, I will say accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. If there is a subscribe, join, follow, whatever button, wherever you're enjoying this content, tap it, swipe it, click it, whatever action activates it. Since I don't post regularly, if technology works like it's supposed to, when I do post, you'll be notified. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you're enjoying this content. Until next time.